Namaste to everybody. I welcome you all to the third episode of the Mahabharata series. As always, I would like to start with the Dhyana Shlokam. नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्. Where did we stop in the second episode? We saw why the successors of Bharata came to be known as the Bharata clan, and we saw that Bharata performed the Rajasuya Yajna and got the title of Chakravarti. And now we are going to see who was the successor of Bharata and what was the situation of the Bharata clan after Emperor Bharata. Bharata had 9 sons, but none of those 9 sons were like him, and all of them always desired money, power, wealth, and none of them had the desire of protecting others, and they always cared about themselves, and they only wanted to protect themselves. And moreover, they always fought amongst themselves even though they were brothers. They didn't even care about their own brothers. As Bharata grew older, he realized that none of his sons had respect for the great empire that he had created. Bharata had created a very great empire where peace, freedom, and everything was there, and the people were very happy, and the kingdom was prospering very well. But Bharata realized that none of his sons had respect for this great empire which he had created, and they only wanted money, and they were always behind money. So there was always conflict between the 9 of them. And he also at the same time realized that because of this reason, none of the 9 sons were eligible enough to occupy the throne after him. Because he knew that if any of them sat on the throne after him, there would be no dharma in the land, there would be no freedom in the land, and the people would not be as peaceful and as happy as they are now. So Bharata immediately began praying to the Lord to provide a solution. He prayed for a way to protect the people and to always keep them peaceful and happy and to always follow the path of Dharma. So one day what happened? Bharadwaj was another sage and he visited Bharata, and Bharata immediately welcomed him and washed his feet and asked him what he could do to help. And Bharadwaja told Bharata that he had come on a delicate mission which was to perform a yajna to increase the land's spiritual merit, to make the land more prosperous. And Bharata immediately was very happy, and he told Bharadwaja that he was very honored, and also told him that the treasury of his kingdom will pay for all the expenses of the yajna. And immediately Bharadwaja was very happy, and he told him, "May the Almighty always bless you and your successors and your great kingdom. But I sense a feeling of sorrow in you, O great emperor. What is the cause of your sorrow?" asked Bharadwaja. And Bharata immediately bowed his head and he told him that I have created a very great empire where everyone is happy, and I am happy that I have fulfilled my dharma to my people. But I am worried that none of my successors or none of my sons are worthy enough to be my successors. None of my sons are capable enough to become the king, and none of them are worthy of the throne. Bharadwaja heard Bharata's plea and Bharata's sorrow and immediately told him not to worry. He said, "Don't worry. It is as though the Lord has sent me here to you. The yajna which I am going to perform, for which you have accepted to give me the expenses, will grant me a son, and this son will be just like you, will always take the path of dharma, and will always ensure peace and prosperity to all his subjects. Bharata was very happy, and he immediately began making all the necessary preparations in order to organize the yajna. And he invited pandits from all over the empire to assist and to take part in the yajna, and donated large amounts of money. He fed so many people and welcomed kings and welcomed leaders from throughout the empire to share in the yajna. Bharadwaja, on the other hand, was also very careful and performed the yajna with great care. And as he had predicted, he was granted a son by the yajna, and this son was named Bhumanyu. Bharata's wife Sunanda was the one who took care of Bhumanyu, and Bharadwaja was responsible for teaching Bhumanyu all of the Vedas which he knew. Bharata, on the other hand, was anxious as Bhumanyu grew up, and he wanted to see if what Bharadwaja said was true and if Bhumanyu would be like him. And he noticed that Bhumanyu was very strong, he was well versed in all the arts, but at the same time he was kind, and he always made friends wherever he went. And if anyone threatened to be his enemy, or if anyone challenged him, he would always subdue them with diplomacy and friendship. He was also very intelligent and learned about all the cultures of the empire, and he always shared his knowledge, and he was very happy to share the knowledge. He was always faithful to the Lord also, and he always took part in many spiritual activities, and he was always eager to serve the people. And Bharata realized that what sage Bharadwaja had told that day was completely true, and that Bhumanyu was exactly like Bharata. He even looked like Bharata because he was tall, handsome, and was also very powerful. Bharata by this time was very old, and his people had begun to ask him about who he was to name as the next king. Which among his 9 sons would he name as the next king? The people didn't like any of his 9 sons, but they had to accept that by tradition, of course, one of the 9 sons had to become the king. And they were very eager to know which of those 9 sons was to be chosen as the king. And on the other hand, all the people also wanted Bhumanyu to be the next king, but they knew that that was not possible because he was not the son of the emperor. And the day when Bharata had to announce the heir to the throne came, and he rose from his throne in order to announce the name, and to everyone's surprise, announced that he was going to adopt Bhumanyu, the son of Bharadwaj, and said that Bhumanyu will inherit the throne from Bharata and would be king. The people were stunned, at the same time were very happy, because none of them had ever imagined that Bharata would cut all of his 9 own sons, own blood sons, and give the entire empire to Bhumanyu. But they also realized that Bharata had done the very right thing. He was completely right in giving the throne to Bhumanyu because he was giving them a king who was worthy of the throne. He was giving the people a king who would always ensure that there was peace and prosperity in the land. He was giving them who the people really wanted, and he was giving the people a king who would never lead them on the path of adharma. Bharata cared for his people so much that He didn't consider any of his own blood sons and passed on the throne to someone who wasn't even his own blood. And because of this, Bharata became even more beloved to all his people. And finally, Bhumanyu was declared the heir to the throne and he was made king, while Bharata retired to the forest to meditate for his last days. Bhumanyu and his descendants were named as the Bharata and the Kuru clan by all the people. And why were they called this? Because they followed all of Bharata's ideals and values. They all cared more about the people than themselves. They sacrificed their own lives to ensure that all the people were prosperous, all the people were free, all the people were happy, and the entire empire was in peace. And true to the name, the Bharata clan, they also nurtured spiritual harmony. They took part in many kathas, they took great interest in the Vedas, and ultimately they paved a way for the empire to be nurtured with Dharma and for the empire to grow in Dharma. So, who were these descendants of Bharata? As we know, Bharata's son Bhumanyu was his successor. After Bhumanyu, it was Suhotra that who was Bhumanyu's son. Bhumanyu's son Suhotra had all of Bhumanyu's noble qualities, and Suhotra was the one who succeeded Bhumanyu, and all the people were very happy that they had again got a king who was worthy of the throne. After Suhotra, it was Hastin who inherited the throne. Hastin was Suhotra's son. And again the people were so happy that they had been so fortunate enough to get so many kings in succession who always cared about their welfare. The people were so happy with Hastin, and they gave him so much of support that he built the city on the banks of the river Ganga, and that beautiful city henceforth became the capital of the Bharata clan. The land of Bharata was now very prosperous, and it was always filled with fortune and friendship, because the idea was that the position of the king did not depend on who someone's father was. Rather, it depended on how capable a person was and what all qualities he possessed. And that was what proved that the person was worthy enough to become the next king. They had to care only about the people and not about personal gain and not about money, and protect their nation from corruption at all costs. Due to this belief and due to this value, the Bharata descendants ensured that the people were always happy, prosperous, and were spiritually rich. And due to this, the Bharata dynasty and the Bharata clan was prosperous for many, many years. In the next episode, we will be seeing what happened in the Bharata clan after a long time. That was after many decades. Thank you. Hari Om.